early afternoon over on the East Coast. Here's the AM Buzz. I'm Brandon, and we are here, and we are here to shake up hip-hop history. I mean, not only do we have a nice show built for knowledge, education, music, social awareness, the whole thing. I just want to appreciate all the love from the people overseas and, of course, in the States where we at that got a lot of love for hip-hop culture and where it's at. So not only are we here to make a difference, and we here to make sure that we charge this game up heavy with knowledge, like real facts about a lot of different things. And why not start with a group that's done it for a while? When I say a while, I'm talking about they getting ready to celebrate their illustrious 35th year in this business, with so many different things on the horizon as far as shows and different events, and being inductees of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and winning Grammys and having powerful songs and stuff like that still resonate to this day. It's only fair that I introduce Furious Five members: Melly Mel, Scorpio, Kid Creo, Raheem. I mean,
yes, sir.
How come we can't get authentic live on the air like this? What up, fellas?
What's good? All right.
My man Chris Martin Play of Kid Play will be in shortly, because he is a major fan of you guys, and it'd be an honor to be able to have you guys, collaborate, talk, do what you do. But I mean, 35 years, fellas. I mean, how y'all feel? I'll start off with Mel and go down the list.
I feel, still feel good. I still enjoy what I do. So, had a good career. We still got a little bit ways to go. So, I feel like I'm blessed, and, just like I said, I'm happy that I'm still being able to do what I do. So, yeah, it's all good.
Scorp, it's been a minute, man. Scorpio, how you feeling, bro? You good?
Man. Oh, yeah, no doubt. One love, man. It's still great, you know what I mean? We're still having fun doing what we do. You know what I mean? We still love a lot of parts of hip-hop, you know what I mean? So, we're just waiting for that next episode,
That's right. Kid Creo, man, how you living?
It's all good, big dog. Good, living good, you know what I'm saying? Good to be here, this afternoon on the AM Buzz, you know what I'm saying? Hanging out with you brothers.
That's what it is. Raheem, you good?
Yes, sir. Just like a pimple on a supermodel's face. Just very happy to be here, my brother.
I love it. Not only do I love that, man, I love the fact that y'all here, y'all ready to give us some game, and I also want to add to the queue, you know what I'm saying, one of the good guys of this industry that, helped mold and shape hip-hop just like you have, and I want to welcome my man Christopher Play Martin in and on deck on the AM Buzz. Play. What up?
What's good, Charles? What's good, fellas? What's happening?
Yo, Player.
Man, y'all, there's no words to express how I'm feeling right now. I had to say a little prayer, and Lord, please hook a brother up. Man.
We all said a little something to the Lord this morning when we got up, big dogs.
Yeah, man, yeah. This is an honor, man. This is an honor. Real talk,
Thank you, Brad.
I mean, not only is it an honor to have you five here, I mean, we're looking at a lot of history this morning, this afternoon, and it's more than official, and it's just like I said to kick off the show. I mean, celebrate 35 years that you guys have had in this business, and you guys will be performing at the BB King's Club in July, the DC's Howard Theater in July as well, and as much love as you guys have gotten throughout the international, like Japan, Australia, so much different love. So, Raheem, how you feel about the international love that you guys still continue to get after all this time as well?
Well, the level of appreciation for the fans, that the fans have abroad is much more prevalent and obvious. They come out in all ages, all ethnic groups, and it's like their appreciation is just very high, and you know, every time we go over there, they always come out.
That's what it is. Mel, with all this extra, you know, international attention, I know, you know, you guys got some sets out there. Germany loves you guys as well. You know what I'm saying? So I know that feeling has got to be good too, right?
Yeah, I mean, but you know what it is? We got a lot of love here because I'll be out on the street. You know, I still stay up in the Bronx and in New York. You know, and I'll be out and about, and people, you know, they give us a lot of love here, but it's just the way the media projects it. It's like, you know, they project it like it's something that's a foregone conclusion, or it's something that we did, you know, and people forgot about. But people ain't forget about the Fierce Five or anything that happened back in the day. They still love it. It's just not projected as the end thing. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like it seems like, you know, guys like Lil Wayne and a lot of these young cats define what's really going on, but that's not what's really going on. That's just, you know, a projection. That's like, is more or less like an illusion. But, you know, because, I mean, when you got guys that did, you know, at the first 15 years of hip-hop, when you got guys that did all those classic songs for the world, that's something that's never going to be forgotten, no matter what the mainstream media, you know, would care to project, or you know, what the radio stations would play, because it's bigger than that. It's like all those snapshots in time and all those memories in people's lives, you know what I mean? That never goes nowhere. It's just that, like I said, the media just don't project it the way it's supposed to be, you know, right now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I agree. Scorpio, you want to add on to anything with that?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, just, you know, even like for the international market, you know what I mean? You know, just for that, they show everybody in the right light. And, you know what I mean? Just, you know, I don't know what Mel was saying. So I guess that's why it always seemed like, you know, we never went out of style, you know, abroad, you know what I mean? And, you know, at one point, I even lived abroad. You know, I lived a couple of years in Germany and Stockholm, Sweden, you know what I mean? So I know, like, they've always put, you know, classic groups, whether it's us or the Kid Plays, in those, you know, proper lights. That's why when you hear a lot of groups, you know what I mean, you might not hear a lot of groups in the States, but you can guarantee most of them is overseas working, because they still got that respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, when you hear about the EPMD, the Dead President, the Dead Prez, and all of them cats like that, they're over there working religiously, you know what I mean? Because that's where the respect is, you know what I mean? So I guess there's some more work got to be done here, you know, in the States, you know what I mean, to get out, you know, put up a couple more magazines and papers and stuff like that, and then it'll all balance out.
Right. Creo, you feel the same way?
Yes, I do. I feel that, like I said, we have a certain presence in America that's undocumented to a degree, because the industry want to skew young, so they want to pay attention to all the cats that's doing something right now, and the pioneers and people like that. They're more or less in the background or on the back burner. The fire's still on, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the focus is not on them, or rather on us. So, you know, what our main focus is, and doing interviews like this goes a long way in helping us do that, is to let people know that, you know, the fire's still burning. You know, we still out there. We still ready to damage and destroy. You know what I'm saying? And we got to put ourselves in a position where we let people know that's all.
No doubt.
And doing this will help us.
I completely agree where y'all coming from. I mean, it's all about, it's a little bit deeper to me as far as the culture, and I feel like the culture of hip hop, and I'm gonna bring it up, and I'm gonna kick it all, you know, with my man Play, and of course he's brought to you by brandnews.com, brand news with a Z.com, and Chris, my thing is this, and we you know, you've actually, you know, helped out with so many different things on a music level and acting and, you know, all kinds of different things, but let's put a focus, fellas, on the culture of hip-hop. Like, the culture that gave birth to me, you know, kind of started with, you know, the Furious Five, of course, and so many people that helped evolve the hip-hop tradition, you know, as far as being creative, different sounds, you know what I'm saying? When I was looking at the message the other day on on the on YouTube, and I was like, man, like even the gear y'all had on was just like, you know, relatable. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was just looking at a lot of different things at play. When I say all these things about creativity and that birth of hip hop, what happened? Is it still here? Did it disappear? What's up?
Well, it's definitely not the same. You know, I don't think that the soul is in it the way it used to be. I mean, when I think about, you know, me coming up and how important it was for me to get my hands on a tape from Uptown, whatever the latest tape, that somebody risked their life from Queens to go Uptown to tape with, you know, the performances that would go on and come back, and, you know, you'd be like at the edge of your seat just like listening to the tape or what went on. Cassette tape, for people out there that don't know what a cassette tape was, that's what happened before we got MP3s. So anyway, so to be able to listen to that, and then, you know, my main thing was, you know, I broke rules. Me and my partner in crime, Herbie, who everybody knows as Herbie the Love Bug, we did what we needed to do to go up to Uptown, Bronx, whatever, to see, you know, Flash and them perform. You know, that was like, and Funky Four and the list and stuff goes on. But when you look at it in contrast today, I had raised a question on Facebook the other day. I'm like, what makes the rhymes of materialism back then from the rhymes of materialism today? And the response was really incredible, because basically at surface value, they seem like they're the same. But we raised the question of what's the intention? What was the spirit behind it? What was the method to the madness? Back then, it was about aspirations. It was about dreams. It was about stuff you were going to do for your family if and when you get your hands on money. Today, it's quite different. I'm not going to get into a judgment thing. But one of the people had quoted Mel's rhyme about buying a mansion. I think I did it, but someone finished the rhyme about buy a mansion for my mother. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know, it's different, you know, and that has a lot to do with the DNA and the contrast between the two. I understand where the young heads are coming from. I've been teaching official courses in higher learning institutions for well over 10 years now, Miles College, North Carolina Central University, FAMU, and now Delaware State University soon, and working with Duke University. And it's just interesting where people's concepts and heads is at. When you mention the mistake I used to make first teaching was assuming everybody heard the first rap record I heard. You can't do that with young heads today. They're not going to say the message. They're not going to say Jimmy Spicer. They're not going to say any of that. And then when I'm able to introduce to them, you know, that era and show them footage of it, they definitely feel like they've been robbed. It's like you growing up on Burger King and McDonald's all your life until you get introduced to Steak and Shake, and you find out what a real burger is like. So when they see that contrast, they're like, yo, we thought we were having fun. We thought this was hip-hop. What's that y'all were doing then? It's something in that. We can't articulate it, but it's something in that looks better, that looks pure, and the word is soul. It's real soul, you know.
Melly Mel, what you want to add on to that, man?
Well, the roots of hip-hop was definitely, it was the music of the poor. It was people that didn't have, and the basic concept of hip-hop, the breakdancing, the graffiti, you know, that would later on went to be art, you know what I mean, scratching the turntables that went on to be the band for the music. It was all music that poor people did to first of all to get by, and then second of all to express, and then it went on to create. How it gets to the point right now where hip hop is the music of, like, you know, these upper class black guys that are just like, okay, now all the thugs is going, now they got like all this thug love, like everybody just want to love the thug, you know, the thug get killed, and, you know, they want to march for the thug. It's like they changed the dynamics of something that put black people socially and economically on one level, and they changed the whole dynamics to what it is, to like it's like it lost all its meaning. You know what I mean? Like if you got rappers, a lot of records like rappers writing the message, and those are still the number 1 and 2 records after 35 years of hip hop. That just doesn't show what went on afterwards. It was better before. Like it was better when guys was doing it because we just like how Chris said, it was better when it came from the soul. It was soul music. It was poor people, you know, really just, you know, creating and doing what they did to be known and to be famous and to get money and to live. instead of just, you know, just some guy, you know, you almost a billionaire and you still talking about selling dope. Like everybody, you know, they all up there with the white people and they still talking about selling dope. And then, you know, then you got the lower level weirdos, you know, and the only thing they talk about is selling dope. But all that is in front of the people, you know what I mean? It's like, where is the true voice of the people right now? And it's gone in hip-hop. You know what I mean? And it's pathetic to me. It's pathetic.
Wow, that's heavy. Scorpio, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what I think as well. I think even like some of the artists as today, they can put themselves in a position to do some great things. You know, some of them, you know, make great records, but you know, the test of time, we'll see if any of them will be classics. And you know, in respect, you know, to my man Nas, I think Nas really is one of the last of the Mohegans that still got his foot in the new school music that is definitely giving out that hip hop soul music that Clay is talking about. So you know what I mean? It ain't like, you know, all of them, you know what I mean, it's up under the bus with that. But you know, so you know, when we have artists like Nas and stuff like that to come out, and even Common, you know what I mean? So you know, it's like a handful that's really still trying to do it. We just got to rally around the ones that's doing it and just big them up and keep it moving. And because that other side is really for them.
But you know what? Sorry for cutting you off, Scorp, but how about them rallying around us for a change? How about that? Because obviously they don't work.
I wasn't saying. Yeah, I know. I ain't talking about all. I'm just talking about the ones that just doing decent stuff.
What I'm talking about is the industry. We don't got to rally around them because we don't
rally around it.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the artists.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about the artists. I ain't talking the industry. Ben done gave up on us. You know what I mean? So we just got to just keep doing what we do, and it's going to be the people that's going to put us in our proper place. You know what I mean? Because it was always when it was always a situation when it was just us, just relating directly with the crowd or the people. It was never no misconception who we was or what we did or where we gonna go with this. You know, when it got to the point where the industry had to step in, and now all of a sudden they the gatekeepers of something we created. You see where we at now. We almost like the Rosa Parks, the back of the bus, even with all of the accolades we got, all of the trophies, all of everything. You know what I mean? You talk about the Furious 5, you know what I mean? Especially if you put it in a certain context with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, they almost treat us like we the picks. You understand what I'm saying?
Point.
So all we got to do is really just try to keep ourselves in front of the people, not even the industry, just the people. And I think everything about is about.
I think another a real unfortunate situation is a bad case of imbalance, because when radio finally did, you know, like a WBLS and KTU or whatever, finally did embrace rap, even though I give more props to Philly for supporting hip-hop music before New York really did, with God bless Lady B, that there was diversity. You know, you can hear the different diversity in hip-hop music. 1 minute, you know, you got, you know, Heavy D and the Boys. Then you got some Public Enemy. Then you might have B-Fat, Let's Do the WAP. You know, you had representation of the different moods and the different things when it became more popular. Now it's like when I do listen to music on the radio, all I got to do is listen to it for maybe 30 minutes tops, and I know that's what's going to be played for like the rest of the day. So like I think Bob mentioned, was talking about in regards to the fact of the gatekeepers, you know, is that you have an imbalance. You don't have equal time for a Nas. His last album was brilliant. You know, you don't have equal time for a Common or Talib Kweli or all of that. And I mean, even the new music you guys is putting out, I mean, there's room for it all, because hip-hop culture is so old now that it isn't a matter of it's just for the young heads. I heard there's supposed to be a movement for hip-hop contemporary that speaks for cats 30, 40 above that still love hip-hop, but let's deal with the issues that demographic lives through, but in hip-hop music and expression. You know, there's room for it, but, you know, like Scorp said, you know, there is the gatekeepers. Powers that be.
Amen to that. AM Buzz has hip-hop icons Furious 5 and also Chris Play Martin right here, right now on the AM Buzz. And I'm going to ask you this, Creo, like, you know, with all that's being said, and I think Mel mentioned it too, when as far as the society in which we live, we was poor. I mean, we grew up and, you know, the message really hit home because this is really what we saw outside. So, you know, a lot of what we see now, you know, 35 years later, still kind of happens. You know, some happens a little bit more so than others in some hoods. And in the society in which we live in, I mean, does that lack of evolution, you know, kind of, you know, to have people talk about a lot of material things that they wish they had, so a lot of people are really geared up towards the material in their lyrics, I guess you could say?
To a degree, like say, to a degree, you can say that. But see, I can't really judge or think for the cat that's writing something, you know, that's trying to create. Like say, I can only stand back and comment from you know, from afar.
Right.
To me, it seems like cats are overly materialistic in the things that they're writing now, and I really don't want to try to criticize anybody because I'm not really feeling, you know, any benefit from doing that. But we rhymed about things about things that we wanted and the things that we desired, the things that we aspired to. There's no real difference in that. You know, what we was trying to do as far as, okay, yeah, I want to do this, I want to go here, I want to have this, you know. But something that Play said earlier is really important in this issue right here. We did things and it had a certain feeling that was pure. Like we didn't try to insult anybody or to try to be derogatory towards anybody because there was certain conduct that we had to follow because we came behind those R&B groups that had a certain amount of professionalism. So when they came to the table, they was spit polished. Everything was tailored, pressed, clean. I'm saying you didn't see these cats like they just stepped off the street and came on the stage. The way cats express themselves now is it seems like they have a certain disconnection with professionalism. I'm not going to say they're not professional because they are. They're making money because they're getting paid for what they're doing. That literally makes them professional. But they seem to lack the certain. This might be a bad word, but they seem to lack class. They don't have the wherewithal to understand that the things that they're saying really affect the youth, and it makes them behave in a manner that's outside their character. Like say, in other words, normally, like say, if you grew up in an inner city neighborhood, you would be in the street and you would try to find things to do in order to entertain yourself, and the main thing that you would try to do is not to try to hurt anybody. You know, so you would try to go out and try to have fun. And it seems like cats nowadays, they want to put themselves in a position where they're fake tough. Knowing that, this might be a bad statement, but knowing that, like say, if you really good, you spent most of your time inside writing and creating. You know what I'm saying? You didn't. You wasn't outside scrambling and slinging this and putting your hand on a gun and doing all kinds of illegal. You wasn't doing that because you don't have time for that. If you aren't all that good, maybe you were doing that, and then you was able to string a couple of things together. If you was really talented, you spent most of your time inside writing and creating, and that was your life. You didn't have the time to be out there getting in trouble and being the quote unquote pseudo thug. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to me, it seems like the materialism in hip hop today is not unlike what we do. It's that there's no real soul to it. Like cats is really doing it for, and now we all did it. We all doing it for money because we have to live. It seems like that's the main thing. Like we want to try to get money and project ourselves. Like say we want to go to the lowest common denominator. We don't want to get a certain amount of class and like you have to work to get to where I am. You could just step off the street, wear some baggy pants, get on stage, have some crazy tattoo on your face, and say some of the most derogatory things in order to shock people, and then you good.
But you know what, Creo?
I get what you're saying. So, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to say this play. Creo just said something that's so deep because I'm thankful to be alive long enough to remember when. I can benefit from, both sides of the spectrum of eras, E-R-A and S and all of that good stuff. But he just was saying that you took the time to be inside and write your rhymes. But see, one of the things that have taken place is when you have hip-hop heroes who talk about they don't write their rhymes down, you have a lot of artists now that want to be like them. So it's like now there's no such thing as the rhyme book. That used to be very important among your crew, was your rhyme book,
Amen. Yep.
And all of that. They don't do that. Now you're losing the art of writing. You're not thinking about what you're saying. It's coming out of your mind. You're rapping off the top of the dome, and most of the time it sounds just like that. And then on top of that, too, what was very important, I was thinking about it earlier because Beat Street was on Bounce TV this morning, was that how important it was not for anybody to be biting somebody else's style. That was something he worked real hard at, too. It was all about uniqueness and originality and really, really trying to be different. And those things have faded away, which has had a really negative repercussion in regards to people following it to a fault,
Yep, I agree. And Raheem, what do you think about this? Like, what all has been said literally, like, the last, few minutes or whatever. It seemed like a lot of people tend to, want to make the here and now joints instead of making songs that's going to leave a legacy later on because, of course, Play said it best. Hip-hop heroes. I'm kind of in that same zone. I mean, I'm a fan, and you guys are my music heroes growing up as well. So, a lot of people tend to want to just do the real quick, mention the fast food joints versus the, what, I think I need to leave this and make this impact heavy as far as leaving a legacy that people be able to hear, listen to, and feel emotion-wise for years to come.
Yeah, well,
right. Go ahead.
I think that the state of hip hop today, without being too harshly critical of today's generation of hip hop practitioners, I believe that the state of hip hop today is more indicative of the fact that we're not in control of our culture. I think that, it's bigger than the artists who are making the music because, first of all, it doesn't matter what kind of music we make, the radio stations have to play it, and the record labels have to manufacture it. So there happened, it was an incident, or without sounding like a conspiracy theorist, in, I believe it was 1990, out on the West Coast, there was a meeting or a series of meetings held with top record label executives and prison officials. And basically what happened was the prison officials, the record label executives invested money in these private prisons. And so the owners of the private prisons offered the record company executives further monetary benefit by way of, if they influence their artists to make the kind of music that would influence their listeners to act out and behave in a manner that was conducive to getting them to go to prison, their prisons would be filled, and thereby the record label executives would make more money because they invested in these prisons, and the prison officials would, of course, make more money because their prisons would be filled. And I don't know about you guys, but since 1990, that's definitely what's been happening. So I don't think
I ain't gonna disagree with you, brother.
I'm sorry?
I said I ain't gonna disagree with you on that, brother.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I think that, whenever anything starts out grassroots, it's the wholesomeness of it and the purity of it is very enchanting. But then once anything grassroots is embraced by corporate America or corporate anyone, that changes the nature of what it was forever. It's never going to be the same again. What we can do is continue to promote and put out music and do things that are indicative of our brand of hip-hop culture, because it's the purest. But because of the fact that, time doesn't stand still, so, the Wright brothers invented the airplane, but, we flying on jets today.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that doesn't make it right for the fact that, the music industry has completely robbed the culture of hip-hop and repackaged it in a way that's palatable for them to be monetarily successful.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but the thing that I most don't like, and anybody that know me, including all the fellas or whatever, I never did like gangster music. I never did like it because to me it was just corny and it was destructive. Being that most of the guys that was saying it, they wasn't really gangster. But the thing that I dislike most of all is that they use nowadays hip hop and all of these characters that you see on TV to describe black people right now. Like in a day where you got a black president, you know what I mean? They're downstairs, like they downplay the contribution of Barack Obama to black society, and then upplay all of this gangsterism and this thugism, like that really means something. Like in other words, I live in a 5-story walk-up. It might be one person on every floor that smoke weed. So that might be just 5 families, and there's 4 or 5 apartments on every floor. But if you go walk up in the hallway and you smell all the weed in the hallway, you think everybody in the building smoke weed. But there's only 5 families. And that's what's going on with hip-hop and in society. Like they use like just one style of what's going on, and then that defines the whole style. Like East Coast rappers, there's no such thing as East Coast rap. You turn on the radio and you hear that Southern rap. Now, there's nothing wrong with Southern rap within itself. But I'm not from the South. I don't need to necessarily relate to what's going on with, every little country bumpkin or every, somebody that, you know what I mean? It's like cats really forgot where the talent comes from. And like me, myself, I feel like I got crackers on my back that's way more talented than Lil Wayne, and I'm going to show him my back. You see what I'm saying? And then that's the bottom line. See, what it is what they do is like they say new is new and old is old. But in music, there is no old when it comes to classic. You see what I'm saying? And we even said into that. It's like, this new music, it's not about new music. It's, listen, if it's good, it's good. Okay, we're going to work with it. If it's bad, why can't, nobody, well, I don't want to say that. If it's garbage, it's just garbage. If we made a whack song, we'll learn everybody on the radio. Radio for everybody. The song wasn't good. I don't feel it. You know what I mean? Now, all of a sudden, after everybody, hurt my feelings about how good I was, how good I could have been, now all of a sudden, don't nobody want to hurt nobody's feelings no more? Like, don't nobody want to say Lil Wayne looked real weird, and, like what they do on TV, when they come on TV, what they do on TV is kind of off, or, what they saying on the records about all this killing, like it's something cool about it.
That's indicative of the fact that we're not in control. We are not in control.
We are in control. We're in control of what we do, and we've been placated. And we've been placated. You know what I mean? Because it's like I said. Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is that something's wrong. And this is not as artists and even black people as black people. If something's wrong, nobody would just come out and say that's wrong. Like when we grew up, if we did something wrong, somebody like a stranger could pull you over. You see what I'm saying? You got that box snitching where somebody could do wrong. Like it's like in every major city, it's young black and Latinos, and they killing each other. But then nobody says that that's wrong. But then when the one thug dude gets shot shot by the cops. And they're killing our kids. They're killing our. But what about all the kids that get killed every day? I keep a picture in my wallet of the young little boy. There's a little baby boy that got killed in Florida houses, and nobody really make a big enough difference about it to say that it was just wrong. That it's just the wrong thing to do. So now you got young men, and they think that it's their life, like it's their culture, gay culture in New York. I understand it's their life, but in New York, come on. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I want to look about. They letting what's going on define who we are, not only in music, because music is a small thing, but as who we are as people, as black people, like these young black people don't really like black people, and that's cool. As long as the cops don't shoot them, it's cool. You see what I'm saying? To me, it's very disturbing to me. To me, it's very disturbing because it's like we fell in love with the Black Ku Klux Klan all of a sudden. You see what I'm saying? And it's disturbing to me.
I look at it like this too, and you made perfect points on it all as far as how everything has been molded and shaped and the whole deal. And I always looked at hip hop as a fraternity, like what I'm saying. You guys help mold and shape different careers, people that was inspired by what you guys have done. Play, I could say the same thing for you. You inspired so many different people, not just, your peers in the industry, but also, the loyal fan base that's going to stay down with you always. And I just feel like that each one, teach one syndrome kind of died out, and I don't know where it fell off, but it just seemed like nobody wants to help out each other no more. So, I'm going to start this one off with Scorpio. My question to you is, you feel where I'm coming from, one, and two, if you see it, what can we do to be able to kind of help rectify that? Because it's going to take more than just the Furious Five, and it's going to take more than just Play and the people out there listening that feel what we're saying in order for us to be able to turn this thing around.
That's really a hard one to say, how we going to put this back in that order, because just like Rob said, that part of the industry and that soulfulness, I think it is gone, But the only thing we can do is do what we do, because at the end of the day, no matter how much, intelligence we have, how much wisdom we have, especially if you're talking to the newer cats, only thing they want to know, if we talking, is we leaning on the Bentley? If we caked up, can we count money? So it's hard to get through the cat when they prize is money. Right. And if we, in our prize, I don't get it wrong. We love money like the next. But we still cut from that other cloth where we know that it's something spiritual to this. But they don't see that. They disconnected from that side. So it's real hard for a lot of cats to even hear what we say. Because we could be on CNN right now, making all of the sense we want. And at the end of the day, 90% of the newer cats that we try to talk about, they looking at seeing what we wearing on our rings, what type of trains, we got draped down and stuff, and the whether is they gonna listen to us or not. Because even if you look at somebody like, Russell Simmons or Puff or cats like that, now they really like folk style age, and some of them is even older than us. But you would never hear anybody call Russell Simmons old school. You would never hear nobody call Puff old school. Because, because they holding so much cake, and that's the prize to a lot of these cats. So they would never even put them in the same class as us, even though, they not, official hip-hop, artists as far as, rhyming and all of that. But, Russell Simmons, I just read today, they consider him as godfather of hip-hop, but they would never call him an old-school artist because of that money factor. So that's a hard call if you don't got that cake next to you.
Right.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that, bro?
Let me just interject right quick. See,
go ahead.
This is the beauty of what it is, and this is why God is great. Because the one thing that everybody seems to forget, definitely young people, but even some of us too, this is still the record business. And once you get the next thing, everybody's still going to follow that thing. You see what I'm saying? So now, at the end of the day, it's like the game is never going to be over, because all you got to do is just come up with the right song. And I've been a true believer. Anybody ever talk to me, I always talk about coming up with that song. And all it takes is one. You see what I'm saying? You're only one joint away from burying whatever it is that ever went on in the past. Because just
That's
like,
right.
Just like the next guy that came after 50 Cent, the consensus in the street, and I really don't really care, but if you ask anybody, which were a couple of years ago, 50 Cent was the hottest guy. Now everybody, to a person, no 50 Cent don't even have a fan out there. Now 50, he's done. He's done. 50's done. Because the next guy came with a record. Just because the next guy came with a record. Now, nobody's not coming out with the kind of record, or you might not be able to get them played, but if you can sneak one through, this game is over because it's still the record business. And I don't care how they try to change it, the thug business or the millionaire club. Change it however you want to change it, Duke. But if you ain't making that hit, that's when they ain't making no hits now. It ain't no, I teased it years ago. When was the last important hip hop song? We can't remember. We could discuss this, and it'd be like something that came over 10 years ago. Public Enemy song or something like that. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So there it is. There it is. So, and that was. You see what I'm saying?
That goes back to. I'm sorry to interject, Mel. That goes back to my point. This is Raheem, and that.
Hello?
Unmuted.
Yeah. Oh, I think Raheem had a. I think it's called drop. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Play, go ahead, bro.
Conspiracy, baby, conspiracy.
I mean, this is play. What Mel said is absolutely right. The thing that's the pros and the cons to this music business is how disloyal it is. There is no loyalty. All it takes is a hit. And, it comes from that old cliche, you're only as good as your last hit. And 50 Cent is a real good example of that. Even when you look at Puff and Russ, I don't think anybody looks at them anymore as far as aspiring to be them as artists, but they look at them as inspirations in regards to what can prayerfully come out of this thing, what you can be set for life. But what I wanted to touch on, which Ra had spoke on in regards to that meeting that took place, is I don't know if it's true, but it's a heck of a coincidence. But, I look at the same thing in regards to the school situation in hip-hop. When hip-hop finally got to the place where it was making music videos, most of the music videos, like 8 out of 10, the backdrop or the concept had something to do with a school, which was a subliminal message to the watcher and the listener that, hey, the place to be must be school. That's where the cute girls is at. That's where we can have some fun out with my boys. Whatever the case may be, there was some subliminal, indirect message that school was the place to be. I dare anybody to name one rap record, one hip-hop video out now that has anything to do with a school. And that can have a lot to do in regards to the dropout rates, which can only most of the time lead to a prison situation. So, everything to me is by design. There is a strategy involved. Why is so much money put behind images that, support liquor, support you got to own a Rolls Royce, you got to hang out in the clubs, the girls got to look like this, the dudes got to look like that. To undeveloped minds, that's the picture of success. It's the same thing that took place when I was a shorty, and I wanted whatever the Furious Five or anybody was wearing, that's what I wanted to wear. I can't tell you how many sheepskin coats I got. Or, when it got into the leather pants or whatever the case, it's all about influence. It's all about what you think success is. So when you look at it today and you're not seeing any images that's promoting education or school, I can't be mad at these young heads unless I have a one-on-one with them to be able to break it down. But they think the success, the girl, the jewelry, all of that is either sticking somebody up, taking yours. We don't even want to get into the whole spirit of entitlement, and that whole thing. So, that's it. Like Ness said, and by the way, I wanted to be you, Ness, when I was a shorty. That name was treacherous, Mr. Ness.
There you go. One love.
I was disappointed when it changed to Scorpio. I said, Scorpio, come on, man. What is this Ness?
Right.
But with all that being said, it was all about the influence. It was all about that. And when you look at it today, it's no accident that you have the decline you have. And there were some people who saw what the influence powers could be, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is, regardless of the title, that there are movers and shakers. There's people who say this is what it's going to be. This is what it will do. But I tell you the positive thing, and I think Mel will love this, is that lately you've seen the power of people. And when you turn around and you form on a Reebok and you form on a Pepsi or PepsiCo and you see things change, it gives you an indication that the power is still with the people if we can be unified.
Mm-hmm. Right, no doubt. See, and one else, like I do definitely what Raheem said, because I remember DST told me that about 6 or 7 years ago. I didn't believe him, but I believe him now. But see, some of it is like with the powers that be, but a lot of it is just with the way that black people evolve as far as how we are and how we raise ourselves and how we raise our kids. Now, see, what we're witnessing right now is the whiteification of black America. Now, when we came up and when our parents came up from their parents, we was taught the importance of having the things that white people attain in their lives. We was taught the importance of having it, and you work towards it. Now, what they teach kids is the value of it, how much the sneakers cost, not the importance of having those sneakers. Like if you're going to get the best sneakers, what you going to do with the best sneakers, or what you going to do with a $500 pair of jeans. The only thing that taught to young kids is the value. Like you got these young little bums and they fashion critics. Oh yeah, those are the Christian LaCroix. Yeah, what do you care? If you don't know what if you don't know what the car is for, like they don't know the importance of having the best car, but they know how much the best car costs. And that's what the whiteification of black America. When we was black, everybody our whole thing in America, we want to fit in the white world. And you had to be engaging yourself to engage the white man to fit in the white world. Now it's like, okay, but that house cost, I want to live in a $3.5 million house, but for what? You see what I'm saying? The end game is lost. The only thing they know is the middle part. We want, even the way black people kill now. 20 years, it wasn't no DC sniper that was black guy that would go. You know what I mean? Because black people, it was certain things that black people just wouldn't do, or they shouldn't do. Now it's like no matter what anybody would say, just like the little Wayne comment about Emmett Till. What black man would say that? What black man would say that? And then he pussyfooted around, and then only until they went to take his money, his endowment. Well, I want to take a moment to realize that I hurt a moment, Wayne. That's all it is. Just take a moment. You see what I'm saying? That's just going to show the mindset of a black man today. It's like the culture thing don't really mean nothing. Your people don't mean nothing. And all other people, they things didn't change. White people go for white people. Chinese people go for Chinese. Koreans go for Korean. Black, no, they don't go for black. They want to have what the white have simply because they want to just be in that frame. Okay, I got the money to afford this, but not, okay, I got this money and I'm going to work first to get my money, then I want to look back, and then I want to help my people. You see what I'm saying? So as I say, it's the whiteification of the black man. The only thing these young kids understand, they don't understand the importance of having wealth. They just understand the value of the wealth. Right. And right there, without the end game, that's our destruction right there. That's the destruction.
And that's definitely a part of the AM Buzz. Have hip hop icons, Furious 5 members, and of course Chris, Play, Martin. And I want to start this question with Kid Creo, because I always kind of felt like the lack of music respect and social respect for our women, has definitely caused a lot of people to kind of not just create a stir, and it's not just a music thing, but we see musically on the flip side, that's one of the reasons why a lot of our women, is not respected to some of these young kids growing up. So my question to, that I'll start off with Creo is this. I mean, it's plain and simple. Like, where do we draw the line when it comes to our women? And actually, before you answer that question, can you turn down your volume real quick?
Me?
Creo, yeah.
Okay, sure. Sorry about that.
Where do we draw the line with our women? Because our women is at a point right now where it's just like, we need to do something to help out our young ladies out there. Try to, help them evolve and grow just like we do.
Well, that once again, that's a difficult question to field. Like, there's no real singular thing that can take place, especially, like say, we've already established that the cat that got the hit record is the cat who has the biggest voice. So now he has the biggest voice. His platform is large, and people are paying attention to him. People are also emulating him or her. So if the person who's on top, who has the biggest voice, the most influence, there's a direct correlation on how that particular person treats women to how the person who listens to their records treats women. For a person with a small voice to try to yell above the crowd and say, "Hey, you shouldn't have women in your videos with scantily clothes. You shouldn't be calling women the B word. You shouldn't be showing images that's negative towards women." You kind of get lost in the din of the crowd because your voice is not large enough.
Right.
To try to, like say, you can make comments and make statements and do the things necessary in order to try to enlighten young people and show them that, you know, you have to respect women because your mom is a woman, you know, which is an obvious thing, and you wouldn't want nobody to disrespect your mother or your sister, you know, and you can go about doing those things, but it's difficult when the cats that have the biggest voice and the most influence are going in another direction. What we can do is, and this is a theme that's been going on through this whole conversation, is project the images that are important to us, and move forward, and hope that the things that we're doing influences some, because we're not going to capture all, because our voice is small right now, and to try to talk to the person who has the largest voice and the most influence, they don't want to be lectured to, because that's how, let's say we talk to them in a manner of we're trying to school them, but they would take it as we're trying to lecture them, like and in their head they're trying to get theirs. They don't hear the outside voice saying, "Yo, this is wrong, that's wrong." They don't hear that, because all in their head is, "I'm getting mines, you know, I'm counting my dollars, you know what I'm saying, I'm stacking my chips." So it's important to try to put to try to come with positive images for women, because in the long run it's going to benefit our culture. But to try to blanket, to make a blanket statement as to what we can do to try to affect the overall outcome, all we can do is the things that we hold dear to our heart, that we know is legitimate, but is good for the culture in the long run, and then just keep moving forward, because our voice is only going to be the influence on the people who see us as people that have a certain credibility, a certain purity in heart, and knowing what we're doing is right, and just try to move forward from there, because our position is like we don't have the influence that the cats that's making nowadays have. But like how Mel said earlier in our conversation, one record can change all that.
Raheem, what about you, man?
For the most part, I'm inclined to say that. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. What was the question? What was the question, please?
Cause y'all know too, like, cause y'all know too. At the end of the day, like, you know, there's so much women out there that support not just our hip hop culture, but you know, there's a lot of ill women, you know, that can spit just as well as the men. And, you know, of course, they don't get the recognition they deserve to a certain degree. And then socially, it just seems like, you know, a lot of our good women is being pushed in by some that's not so good. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, of course, you know, kind of what Creo was saying, we kind of have to, you know, it's going to be us, even though we may be a drop in the bucket somewhat. But at the same time, like, if we have enough strong men supporting our strong women, I think it's going to teach those other ones that kind of lost their way to, you know what, maybe I need to look in the mirror and try to be able to, you know, raise my game up a little bit so I can be able to be a strong woman as well.
Right, but one of the things that I think is the major contributing factor to this problem and the state of hip-hop and the state of overall black society is the fact that a lot of time is spent paying a lot of attention to media. Media controls the entire world. And I don't know if everyone is aware of this, but when you audio and visual images are things that enter the subconscious mind without our permission.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, our youth are being programmed. All right? When you are subjected to a certain amount of hours of listening to repetitive or watching repetitive things, after a while, your behavior becomes indicative of that which you see. It's like eating unhealthy food. If you eat unhealthy food, eventually you're going to, you know, become unhealthy, overweight, sick eventually, you know. So when you listen to unhealthy music, it acts. It is black society.
Mm-hmm.
But not to say that there aren't responsible black people, because there are a multitude of responsible black people. But I was, you know, I'm a Barack Obama fan, just like the majority of black America. But I was very disappointed when I heard Barack Obama make reference to Young Jeezy. And now, you know, not to say that Young Jeezy doesn't have the right to, you know, to make money in the music industry, but if you tell me 5 songs on the radio, your local radio station, that don't promote death or some kind of violence,
right,
drugs, misogyny, or materialism, I challenge you. So it's a thing of being programmed. It's not, you know, if people were more aware of the fact of this phenomenon, because I think it's phenomenal that people don't, you know, it's obvious to me. It's like Stevie Wonder could see it, you know, no pun intended, but, you know, but without completely bashing the artists today, there are a multitude of artists.
Bash him, Rob. Bash him, baby. Bash him. Bash, baby. Bash. I'm the basher. The hated basher.
My man, Muscle Simmons. Muscle Simmons is spoken.
Yeah, but you know what? Sorry for cutting Raheem off. It's like, see, with women, and I debate with people, with hip-hop, with people all the time. Now, just with the demographics alone, consistently, the top rapper in the world should almost always be a woman. Now, with the history of a woman's rapper, right, the most deepest one might have been somebody like Queen Latifah. The deepest one.
Queen
right?
Latifah. Right.
But now you got a rapper like Reddy, which is a great rapper. She be smashing on the mic, but what is she talking about? You see what I'm saying? And so now you got women, like, in other words, in the history of female rap, no woman made a record about having a baby, like the experience of raising a child. No woman made that record. Why not make that record? You see what I'm saying? They stay alive. And then the only thing that when they do get deep, they get deep on this level. Like they'll talk about, the man, you want a man that got a car, a house, and a good job. Well, that's a man with 3 women, so that's a man she's your hobby. As a woman.
Right.
If you want a man that got something, you see what I'm saying? So, the fact that women don't stand up for themselves in hip-hop is one thing, and then all the stuff that you see on TV, the Bad Girls Club and the Housewives of Atlanta, they bickering all the time, it's just horrible, you know what I mean? It's like, and women love to watch it. Like, my lady, she be watching, I'll be having to leave the room before we get to argument because, you know what I mean? Because this is something that she really, they love the engagement, of hearing these women argue and bicker and go back and forth, and their mindset ain't like, well, how could we, how could all us women get together and do better to better our plight as black women in America? They don't do that. They're too busy bickering and BSing and trying to find this man that got 2 or 3 other women. I mean, it's like, even the history of women, good girls love what? Bad boys.
Bad boys.
It's hard. It's hard. The difference between a man and a woman is that a man will pick a woman simply on potential. Like you can go in the restaurant and you'll see the waitress, you'll marry her because you think that she's a good woman, that she got potential, she's a hard-working woman. Do you think that a woman would go to a restaurant and look at the bus boy and marry him? Or just say, I think he's a hard-working man. I like the way he talks.
Not a woman, right, well, not a woman of any stature.
Exactly. Their whole thing is, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, what women need to do, what you got to do is you got to galvanize your power. It's just like what Beyonce does as far as making a connection with women. And that's on, like the superficial things, your hair done, and, certain things that how a man would, she like you should have put a ring on it. You see what I'm saying? If a hip-hop woman was to take that same concept, that same theory, or if more women was to take that same concept and that same theory, it'll go a long way because a woman's worth is a woman's worth. You know what I mean? What a woman's worth, that's going to be her worth. Whatever she thinks she's worth, that's going to be her worth. You know what I mean? If a woman go with a drug dealer, that's her worth. If a woman want to find a church-going man, that's her worth. But if you had to choose between the two, most of the women that define women, they don't pick men on potential. They pick a man, you have to be already made. You can't, a woman want a guy like me. You know what I mean? We need to I'm not helping the material. You see what I'm saying?
I just have to interject one thing. Maybe this says a lot of who I am, but I do love me a stripper.
Guilty as charged.
And there's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, good girls like bad boys. But like at the end of the day, like I said, it would serve women a lot more. And you gotta have a whole safety net of things that protect your worth. Because I mean, and I tell women all the time that the thing that like you can play women just by the odds. You know what I mean? Okay, I got a good woman, you a good woman, but I could go out and get 10 women that half your worth, and I could get 5 times more done. That's the bottom line. You see what I'm saying? And that's women's biggest deficit is that the odds is, and I tell my women all the time, listen, the odds is this. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, I swear to God, I'll go right up the block and I'll get somebody to do 5 times more for 2 times less. It don't even matter. don't even matter. And they ego and they pride might hit them because that's the thing. You know, that's the thing. But when they think about it, Daddy, you right. The numbers, you know what I'm saying? Women have, they have an army, but they're not together. They're not together on nothing.
Not unified. They don't recognize
they can't agree on nothing. Yeah, the housewives of Atlanta, they can't agree on nothing. They still be intelligent women, you know, well-made up. And if you sit down and listen to 10 minutes of it, they figuring about, you know, it's just trivial. It's like it's nothing that, you know, it's nothing that's seen on that platform that moves women forward to where you could even say, you know what, I respect, you know, within every man only comes the respect that he would have for women. But as far as men in general, they never respected women. Never. Mm-hmm. Because
you know, it's so interesting.
They just don't rally like that. Like men will rally, women won't rally. They'll rally like, you know, like if you said, you know, well, we don't want y'all to press feed the public, and then they'll rally. But as far as the basic theories of a woman's worth, they don't rally on that. They'll just let women stand for themselves. You know what I mean?
But what's so interesting is what something Raheem mentioned earlier in regards to the visual and the audio, video and audio. It's like that same dynamics you're talking about, Mel, applies to the audio, because what always still to this day baffles me is when I ask a woman, or in most cases a girl, why she advocates or pretty much champions a record that is defamating women, disrespecting women. Mostly the main thing that will come out of their mouth, the common thing was, they're not talking about me. You know? And then when you watch the situation on television, I think it's the same dynamics. It's like, well, okay, are you watching this because it's something you can relate to? No, they're not talking about me. But still yet this thing is growing and growing and growing. And it's like, well, who are they talking about? Who are they representing? And that's scary to me. That's really, really scary to me because it's breaking down. I mean, we could go real deep because now, again, what Raheem was talking about with that situation in the 90s and what I was talking about with the climate of school, what's really deep is the decline and the breakdown of the family. The problem happened when you got the black man out the house. When you came and said, listen, we'll pay you to get 2 incomes out of this house. And now the black man leaves. Now you got more television in. Because I could go real deep. The whole thing about, hey, Ma, can I eat dinner in my room so I can watch TV? Where the power with the family, any family, but in particular we're black, we're talking black family, was the dialogue that used to take place at the breakfast and the dinner table. That's right. Where a man and a wife can be able to detect something's going wrong when I'm asking you questions of how was your day, and you're not giving me answers about what went on in school, your tests, any of that kind of stuff. Now you could nip it in the butt. But then when you get the TV in the house, back to Raheem with the visual and the audio, because I'm very spiritual, that you got that in there. Now you're breaking that down, the conversation. You get the man out the house. You're tricking the woman into believing you can benefit more if you get him out. You're your own pro-woman. You can do this, whatever the case may be. And now we land where we're landing at right now. I mean, like I said, we all can go deeper. I'm just really broad-stroking everything, but that's where we're at.
Amen to that. Amen to that. A couple of quick questions before we let you guys go. And it's kind of like Play mentioned, is like, you know, the household, the family. You know, a lot of family was, you know, grew up in a lot of single parents, single moms, single dads, whatever the case may be. You know, it was, you know, some you had to, you know, you had them all together, some you didn't. But nowadays with these kids and the fact that, you know, they have so much access to, you know, music, sex to a degree, online or whatnot, easy access.
It's called information.
And just, yeah, and a lot of information that, you know, you would think they need but not need, you know what I mean, when it comes to certain things. All that education out there in the world, but they tend to go left and find as many sex places or, you know, different all kind of other things. So my question out there, and I'll kick it with Mel, is when you do have all these kids and there's distractions that they do have, I mean, how do you see or who puts the onus on the fact that, you know what, we need to kind of curb what's going on musically, and these kids are so easily influenced by it and by what's said. Like, you know, do the music or the social media lead these, you know, kids into a not-so-good light?
Well, you know what, at some point, and I remember we did another interview, and Creole said, you know, like, you know, we can't be the hip-hop police, and I disagree then. At some point, you're going to have the hip-hop police. You got to save people from themselves sometimes. So sometimes you just can't let a person just be, I'm going to do me, I'm going to be me, I'm going to live my life. But your life is going wrong. You know what I mean? All this ghetto mentality is like we don't slip so far into the ghetto, it's all wrong. And somebody is going to have to actually, you know, it's just like how Charles Barkley and them police the NBA because they point out everything that a young player is doing wrong, and it filters down to them, and then the next game they'll play that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
There's nobody that, it's just like how we were saying earlier in the conversation, there's nobody that critiques. It's like, in other words, when Lil Wayne said that Emmett Till comment, 3/4 of hip-hop should have fell on him like a ton of bricks. Like, yo, man, what in the F is wrong with you? You see what I'm saying? And then it would have been corrected. It wouldn't have been the story that it was, but except, you know, you need that. And we need that to build up our work. Well, who are you to say? This is who I am to say. You see what I'm saying? That hip-hop doesn't have that. It doesn't have elder statesman, so therefore there's a disconnect between the older guy and the younger guy in music, so now definitely a disconnect between the younger guy and the older guy on the street. And you got to make that connection because you only learn how to mature from dealing with mature people.
Right.
You can't learn how to grow old by listening to a young man because he's always going to do it like he's a young man. And that's what we got right now. Older people even trying to look young just to placate the younger guy, and the younger people are the ones that actually are the biggest influence on younger people. So you got everybody, it's like black people right now, we're all like 25. Like everything is like 25 and 30, so that's safe. 50 ain't safe. 50 ain't safe. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing more. I'm 52 years old. I swear to God, if I could have been the way I was right now when I was 20, I swear to God, I mean, I feel, you know, I'm in a little pain sometimes when I get up because I got arthritis or whatever, but once the machine get going, and I'm good. And everything, my mind, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but kids got to see that. And we have to police them. It's just like the elephant, the bulls, the older bulls, they keep the younger bulls straight. If you go in one way, you gotta knock them back over. It's the only way. Other than that, as it keeps going right now, all these little cities and towns is gonna be like Dodge City. You can't tell them nothing. You can't call the cops. You know what I mean? People killing people just for whatever. And you know, at some point, you know, we gotta stop raising our kids like these little white boys. You know what I mean, truthfully speaking, and go back to our roots. You see what I'm saying? Black people don't even beat their kids no more. How do you do that? Now,
hey, Mel,
get away with that.
Hey, Mel, was it not a vibe that was had when we was growing up? Like it takes a village. Like if you was a kid and you got in trouble, your neighbor was gonna be the first one to go tell your mom or your dad exactly what you did, how you did it, etc. Right?
Right. You can't say nothing. You see a kid do something wrong right now, you can't say nothing. You look out your window, you see somebody just close the window, go watch, you know, Bad Girls Club. I don't know what you know what I mean. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Wow. Look, at the end of the day, I love black people. I love it. That's you know what I mean? That's how hip hop music got started because we love intermingling with our people, good and bad.
Right.
But we made them party. You know, now we got away from that. We got to get back to ain't nothing wrong with the old ways. Ain't nothing wrong with that because it worked for millennia. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now what's going on right now, that don't work for me. It don't work for me. It don't work for nobody.
Hey, and to add on to that, and I'll let Scorp, add on to it too. But Mel, you're right on point because I mean, you know, look at the life that you've lived. I mean, you know, you said you 52, so you know. You living it. You living it. You still alive from, you know, all what you was taught. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. You still here, and you still able to teach others exactly, you know what I'm saying, what to steer clear away from or what to go get as far as leaving a legacy. Perfect point.
Exactly.
Perfect point.
Exactly.
Scorpio, add on to it.
Hey, I mean, that's where it's at. You know what I mean? It's just like, just getting back to the industry part of it. The industry, you know what I mean? I mean, they have so much to do with this, you know what I mean? Definitely a lot of things broke down in families, home, black people, stuff like that. But once, you can't put out a certain type of music, you know what I mean? 'Cause that's where a lot of the education that came from, by being hip, like with the Public Enemies and the cats like that came after us. When able to put something in music and make it cool, and take it off of that preachy teaching, so to speak, what they want to say. That element is just gone. You know what I mean? And that's the easiest way and the quickest way to get to the masses, the quickest way to put out a record so people in Germany, Japan can hear. And, and believe it or not, you know what I mean, we all travel abroad a lot. You'd be surprised just how the American influence had abroad. You know what I mean? Because I can remember at one point, you know what I mean, that they didn't even have guns and stuff like all through the UK and stuff like that. Now they got like a mob mentality, like the teenagers going around with the guns, the posses, the whole thing. You would think you were in America at some parts, you know what I mean, across abroad. So a lot of it is always going to relate back to that music. And like Rob said, you know what I mean, being with that prison system, you know what I mean, a lot of cats been hearing about that for years, and you can almost see how that played a direct response of not letting, you know what I mean, real rappers, different rappers in, you know what I mean, that got messages. And until that really able to cut through, you know what I mean, we could do a talk show or we could, come on TV after something crazy happened, we could speak about it, but like anything else, after that talk show and after that, 2 weeks later, it's over. You got to get back in the music. That's how it is. And that's the quickest way because, realistically, a lot of them cats, they ain't studying us no more. And that's okay. You know why it's okay? Because we still got enough people, we got enough fans worldwide that can still keep us abroad. You know what I mean? That can keep us afloat, and that we can still live that lifestyle that we still dream about. You know what I mean? Hey. So I think, yes, for the other side of the coin is actually a great time to be in the industry. You know what I mean? Far as business-wise, you know what I mean? And if you got your business together, I'm talking about. If you got your business together, you got your right managers, you got your right lawyers in place, and then you could walk away with a great situation. You're going to get what you deserve. You know what I mean? Unlike when we started, you know what I mean? It's here and there. But right now is actually the best time to be in the industry, like economic-wise. So, I think, a lot of classic cats, we right there. So it's just a matter of just, getting in and doing something. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Creo, you want to add on to this?
They'll follow our lead because a lot of it's
Creo, you want to go ahead and add on to it as well?
Sure. And like to talk about what Mel was saying about the hip-hop police, he makes a point with that. But I still firmly believe that that in order for your voice to be heard, right, it's a top-down scenario. It's not a bottom-up scenario. You don't talk from the bottom up because then you seem like you're a hater. You have to be in a position because what Mel said is true. I say that statement that these people made about the Till, that this rapper made about the Till scenario. Three-quarters, if all things being equal, quarters of hip-hop, what's supposed to come down on him and what are you doing right there? You know what I'm saying? And he was supposed to have been a little bit more fearful to say something so derogatory. And from my understanding, the point that the statement that he made, he was talking about the sexual prowess. He made a comparison with his sexual prowess to Emmett Till being murdered. So legitimately, three-quarters of rap should have came down on him. But that's a top-down scenario. When you start talking about saying, okay, this rapper over here made this comment and he would need to so and so because legitimately blah 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 blah. you don't have the authority, or if you're not in a position of authority, where, like, say, if you're mainstreaming, if you're not doing that, then you just some cat on the fringe hating. And I firmly believe this, because even like I remember when NWA first came out, and they was doing all that F the police and all this stuff. I said back then that in a minute they're taking on so much back, right, that in a minute they will fall off their own weight, because you just can't keep throwing negative out there. Regardless of whether or not what you're doing is winning, you still can't keep throwing negative things out there, because eventually you will fall off your own weight. And that's what happened with NWA. That's what happened with Lil Wayne. That's what happened with Rick Ross. It's the same thing. Nobody's out there policing them, but after a while they took on so much negative water that they just sunk off their own weight. And I believe
game right there, though. Raheem, your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I agree with it, what everyone was saying, basically. And, I mean, I think that it's all indicative of the fact that we are not in control. All we could control is our personal world. And hopefully our personal world and the way that we carry ourselves and the things that we do will resonate and transcend beyond us and influence others to do, greater things. And I think that, when society places great emphasis on going to school, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to school, and getting a great education, and getting a great job, and working for someone for the rest of your life, enabling your employer to do all of the leisurely things that they always envision doing with the people that they care about. Meanwhile, you're at your office, weekends, holidays, overtime, whatever, to ensure that their yacht notes are overpaid. Are paid. So, for that reason, that has, especially when the black man was taken out of the household, that forced the black woman to have to work more than one job in order to make ends meet. And because of that, if they had children, their children were subjected to the street.
Right.
Because, latchkey, I was a latchkey kid, but luckily, there was something in me that was, I had a musical interest, so I didn't really, get involved in street activities to that degree to where I got arrested and, all of that. But it goes back to parenting. But this whole conversation is like this could be a whole series of talks, because
you ain't never lying.
We need to have the audience chime in to get their response, young and old, and I would really be interested to hear what some of you young listeners' opinions of what we're discussing here today, because it's obvious that you are the future, and there used to be a time, like, everyone agreed that if someone saw you doing something wrong in the street, your neighbor or whomever, if they were older than you, more senior than you, they would put you in your place and you would stop that. But
that's right.
Now, the way that things are today, too many people mind their business. And that's all right. That's all right to a degree. But if this is your community, all right, if you live in this community and you see people doing things that are counterproductive to the growth and the progression of your community. Like for example, I lived in a projects in the Bronx called Lambert Houses. And as I became of age, like 35, before I actually moved out of Lambert Houses, I wouldn't allow anyone to sell drugs in my building.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can't sell drugs in my building. I'm not trying to stop you from eating. I'm not trying to stop you from feeding your family. But especially because of the harsh nature of the element that the kind of drugs that this particular individual was selling, which was heroin, the kind of customers that brings, that was kind of, I'm like, man, listen, your mother lives on the same floor as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if, one of your fiends that you serve every day doesn't have money to cop from you, and he needs credit, but you deny him credit. And he sees your mother coming in the building, but he doesn't know she's your mother, nor does he care.
Right.
And then he robs your mother and hurts her, or worse, kills her. That'll be on your conscience. So we have to act more responsibly and police ourselves and our communities, because if we don't do that, we're on the path of destruction. But there are some glimmers of hope, and there are some very intelligent and progressive people in our communities. And what we really need is unity.
Absolutely.
That's what we really need. Because
absolutely.
There is no I in team.
Yep. And Rob, just to kind of add on to what you were saying, man, it's nothing for us to turn this into a series and involve our listeners, and people can call in and stuff like that. So we can definitely make sure that we go over that in the near future, so we can be able to have this voice and allow these people, these young people, to call in, and just we can hit them with exactly what kind of game we giving right now, because there's so much traffic, so much love, a lot of action going on through social media. So it is a blessing to be able to have you guys on. And in closing, and before I let you guys go, and I'm gonna start off with play. Chris, you blessed me during my 5-year stretch last year with an interview, and you've always been a person that I watched as far as someone that I took inspiration from, somebody that I just kind of looked up to without even physically being your homie. You've always been the homie, what I'm saying, for a lot of different reasons, because I was just like y'all, grew up in not so good environment, what I'm saying, had one parent in the house, but what helped me get through is a lot of good music and a lot of good movies and a lot of good memories that came with it. And I think a lot of people at the end of it all should really just take, I kind of feel like this. A lot of people take the God-given talent you guys have for granted to a degree, but there's a lot of us out here worldwide that do appreciate exactly what you do, how you do it, and what you stand for that bigger picture. Because I see all you guys as legacy builders instead of the here, now, gone tomorrow type of thing. You know what I mean? So, Play, I definitely appreciate you for that. I think we're still good. I think, Play, you still good, right?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interject.
I thought Play was scared of me. Like, wait.
I'm sorry, man. I had it on mute because I didn't want to disturb anybody's flow. But what I was saying, man, is that all you guys inspiration to me, and I'm not into telling people what they want to hear anymore. You know,
Absolutely.
So my thing is, man, is like, you know, this is a dream come true from a shorty way back, and when I was telling my peeps what I was going to do today, forget it. But I come from a background, some people know me, you know, with New York. My New York humbles. My heroes weren't the heroes that the kids have today. My heroes was Nicky Bonds and Guy Fisher and some Alpos and, you know, Fat Cats and all of that. I mean, I risked my life just to be under the same roof and in the building. I know all the Armory jams, all the stuff you guys played at. I was there. I remember the day that first time anybody really had a chance to see any members of the Furious Five since y'all's big success blowing up. When Melle and Scorp came to a Brooklyn Armory thing, no one expected y'all to come. Y'all walked in, stood, watched the act that was on the stage. I'll never forget this. Then y'all guys got up on the stage. Everybody with bated breath, like, what they going to say? They're going to bust around. They're going to do what's up? You know, Melle, Scorp, or Mr. Ness. And all Melle said was, this is what real MCs are supposed to look like, and dropped the mic and was out. And I'll never, forget that. That was, cool to me. But what I wanted to say was that out of everything we discussed, especially, you know, the thing that hones in the most, and I had posted it and got a lot of responses, positive responses, was what God turns into good, what man means for bad. And when Lil Wayne did what he did irresponsibly with the Emmett Till piece, the one great thing that did come out of that is he brought attention to history that a lot of generations or a lot of this generation didn't even know about. It forced cats to have to be like, who's Emmett Till? And not only did they understand the disrespect that he did, but now it brought black history back into their lives to just see the history of what we've gone through. And if it took that kind of unorthodox teaching for it to happen, at least it happened, you know, what cats had to learn, you know. So that's what's amazing to me. But on that note, like I said, I just want to have the honor, you know, when Kid and I first came out with our first album, we dedicated it to the memory. I don't know if you guys remember of Cowboy.
I do remember that, brother. Yes, I do.
Yeah, and all of that, man. So it's like, this is an honor. I hope to, you know, get a chance to fellowship with you guys in person, you know, in the near or far future. But I just want, on behalf of so many New York, around the world, trust me when I say thank you. Thank you. Because I still teach my students that the best #1 rap record ever made in history was The Message. But my favorite is Super Rapping. But the greatest rap record is The Message. Real talk. You know.
All right. No doubt. And in closing, you guys, you know, Melle, Scorp, Creo,
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, this is Scorp. I just want to say, you know, a lot of things that. Oh, thank you for that play, man. That's respect, man. One love from the heart. You know what I mean? I just want to say a lot of things we say that's out of our control, but one thing that's in our control is July 5th. We're going to be at Howard in D.C., you know, on the stage, Furious 5, and July 6th, we're going to be at B.B. King. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's in our powers that we can control. So if anybody going to be in the area, wherever, man, come check out, you know what I mean, the legends put it down, and you can see some of the stuff what Play was talking about. Obviously, we're going to be doing all of the classics, you know what I mean, that ever came out. And if you were still interested in getting at us, you know what I mean, just email us at, you know, the Furious 5, that's D-A, you know, Furious 5 at gmail.com. Sorry, I have to do the shameless plug, but hey.
No. What BBQs y'all gonna be at? BB King's the one in New York, or is there one in DC?
In New York, we're gonna be at the one in New York on July 6th, and we're gonna be at Howard on July 5th.
All right, you might see me. I'm gonna be in New York around that time. I'm supporting Devastating Tito with his Legends thing he's doing on June 22nd. So I might hang around to do that. But yeah, I want to support. Real talk.
No doubt.
It's beyond a blessing to be able to have the 5 of you guys here. And, you know, like I said, you know, about Chris, like, you know, Melle, Scorp, Creo, Ra, I mean, it's you know, I feel the same sentiment that Play has, you know, from a perspective from this guy. Like, you know, I've not just looked up to you guys on a music level. I mean, to me, it was always a good inspiration to be able to, you know, tell that somebody is not just spitting lyrics from the gut, you know, but also, you know, have that passion, that conviction, and that, you know, God-given talent to be able to, you know, be the voice of a lot of us. And there's a lot of people that feels the same way like I do, not just in the States, but worldwide, and, you know, not just for you guys, but also for Play. It's beyond a blessing to be able to have the five of you guys on at the same time. And we do need to turn this into a series where we can be able to allow these young people to understand as much game as we possibly can. So we're going to have to work on something. And I messaged Play this too. And I told him, like, man, our kids are in dire straits. We need to make sure that we do everything we can for these young kids to be, not just to be somebody, but to feel good about themselves. Because you can be all you can to a degree, right? But if you can't feel good yourself and you can't really just say, hey, you know what, I'm a positive little kid trying to do it, you know, it's going to be hard for these guys and little girls to be able to, you know, try to hold down legacy. So, you know, it's you know, I'm glad we're teachers, and we're going to continue to be teachers to help these kids out. And I'm glad you guys are here celebrating 35 years, and I couldn't be more prouder to be able to have this kind of dialogue with you guys.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very much. You know, and I just like to close. This is Raheem. I just like to, in closing, say that rap music is a very influential platform for people who didn't necessarily know that they had a platform to exercise their voice to use. And every country that has openly embraced rap music also has some semblance of their own, some brand of their own rap music. And that says that they too have a yearning desire to exercise their voices. And the people who control the industry are afraid that people all over the world will unite, because music is a universal language.
Yep.
And music is supposed to feed the soul. And on that note, make soul music.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right. Fellas, it's been beyond a blessing.
Let's do it. Book 'em down.
Let's do it. Hey, blessings to you guys, and I will definitely be in contact with you all. So thanks again for everything. Play, Mel, Creo, Raheem, Scorpio. Much love to you all.
See you guys in New York or in Howard.
All right. One love.
All right, man.